So when you have higher time frame, lower time frame alignment, this is what we call the AA plus setup. Where's your entry, Jason? Is it here based on this one? I assume this TPF. Okay. How about the rest of you? Same here, you see. Oh, good. I wanted to short cat yen. Let's not talk about my cat yen. Held this for such a long time. Just the swap fees itself were crazy. Should have held my Aussie dollar instead of holding this CJ. If I were to held my Aussie dollar, it was so much better. Cat yen just wasn't moving. Holding dollar Swiss. There's not much setup, so later on we'll just go straight through the some of the major pair. Dollar Swiss. So if I'm not wrong, Nash is in BTC, Aussie dollar, and what else? HK. What else? Holding dollar cat. Dollar Swiss short or long. This is definitely still bearish. Definitely still bearish. Can't even it cannot even hold above this area at 0.7996. So this is definitely still bearish. So yeah, gold is looking very strong as well. So how's everyone doing this week before we start our market breakdown? Is it a positive week for all of you, or BE, or small loss, or anything? BE negative 2R this week. Which pair did you trade, Yannick? EU and GA. Okay. EU long, GA range. GA range long. I would still suggest you. GA is looking quite weak for now. Unless we see a major fake out back above this major support or now resistance at 2.05. Otherwise, I really won't suggest you because Yannick, you're not the only person. This week on the trades review, many of the journal I saw, many of our traders were long on GA as well. They were trying to buy the support. But again, when the range is when the range has lasted too long, I will still advise you all don't just put on the buy limit to buy the support just because you know it's a range. Because you have to see how price have been trying to go higher, and especially this area. If you look at this piece of price action here, where price really seems like it has accumulated and is really breaking up higher and higher, but we still fail. We still fail miserably, and we still come all the way back. So seeing such a strong reversal for me as a short-term trader is it is a sign of weakness. That's why this week, if you have been following up with our breakdown, I also say that I'm bearish on GA. EU long, where's your long entry? Minor resistance at 117.31. So you were buying, I assume, here. Oh, okay. 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 But price position. I actually understand why you bought it there, especially if you look at, let's put a replay, so no hindsight. When you look at price action like this, it's quite tempting to buy, right? But if you look at the left, same thing. You see one rejection at the resistance and it's coming back. So as a short-term trader, you just have to balance the fact that price rejected the resistance, and at the same time you're looking to buy. Yeah. So I think two of your loss could have been avoided. But anyway, no hindsight. It's okay. So let's recap the entire week. So how many of you bought into Aussie dollar this week. If you stick to our game plan on last meeting, you'll probably have made money on Aussie dollar if you stuck to the game plan. So last Sunday, if we do a recap, when we were doing our meeting, price was here. It was here. Then we said that Aussie dollar is doing a clean BNR at 0.6555. And Monday, when market open, you can look for potential entry here. So yeah, many of our traders also bought into this BNR, especially Nash. Nash is still holding, I know. Yeah, if you just hold Aussie dollar all the way, you probably will have what, a 3R, 3 to 4R from here, from A to B. We then rejected the resistance. Yeah, I know, Nash, you bought it all the way down here. I remember. Last week we talked about it. No? Not this area? No? Here? Okay. So it was the same as my initial entry. Same level. Okay. So yeah, we talk about AU long. Then we also talked about CJ short. So we were looking to sell cat yen because price was also forming a TPF. If you look at the 2 hour, it's clear here. So rejected the resistance, come below, break below this level of support, now become resistance. So we are basically just shorting the TPF. So left shoulder hit and a right shoulder. But unfortunately, I decided to stick to cat yen because the setup to me was very clean and end up we're still there. So I scaled in at 106.52 for about 40% size, which is about 20 lots. And my initial entry to BE, I was fortunate enough to be surviving. So I survived on this spike and I'm still holding on to the trade. Right now, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'm still holding on cat yen. If tomorrow I see price close back below 106.52, but tomorrow I know we have the yen holiday. Yeah. But if let's say I see price close back below 106.52, I'll add on another 40% size, which is another 20 lots. Once I add on another 40% size, another 20 lots, I'll be in for about 90 lots in total. I will then throw all of my stops above this minor swing high here on the left. So if you zoom down, it will be, again, if the scenario happened, if it didn't happen, then I'm wrong. If it goes all the way up, I'm happy to take a small loss here. If let's say price come back below, I'll be happy to throw my stops above this high because that will be a lower time frame TPF here. So yeah, that's my game plan on cat yen. If you have not entered, I would still suggest you don't short it at 106.52. Wait for a break below 106.12. Okay, so cat yen, still holding on to the trade, and this coming week I'll still focus on this one. I know it's a little bit slow, but go back to the entire game plan on this pair. The main reason why I've been looking to sell is because first thing, bearish on the long-term trend, as much as we have a deep retracement, but in the short term, as price has rejected and failed at this 108 level, 1, 2, 3, you can say 4 times, I'm still expecting this to go lower. Price then formed this lower time frame TPF here, allowing me to go short. So that's the entire thesis on cat yen. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow. So just remember, if price close back below 106.52, I'll scale in another 20 lots. So that means I will be almost double my size because I shorted 50, scale in 20 here. If it comes back, scale in another 20. If you want to go in on CJ, I'll suggest you don't go in full size because this is considered an aggressive entry. Why? Because price has rejected this level of support. But at the same time, we also have the bearish signal that we wanted to see. So times like this, just make sure if you want to short it earlier, which means an aggressive entry, don't go in too heavy because this is considered a lower probability setup. Unless your entry is like mine, then of course you can scale in because you have profits. But if you're trying to get in here as a fresh entry, just be careful. Um, Now go back to Aussie dollar. If you are looking to trade Aussie dollar, I personally think this is on a very strong trend. If you want to trade, there's only one more entry. After this entry, there's not much chance left. So if you're looking to get in, there's one entry at 0.6623. So it will be a BNR on this previous resistance now becomes support and also aligning one of the major support on the left. After this, if let's say price really run away from here, there's no more. I can't see any more entry. Anything else for me would be chasing the trend. So this will sort of be the final entry. Again, I'm not trying to stimulate FOMO, fear of missing out within all of you, but if you want to trade AU, I still think there is one more chance to buy at 0.6625. I'm in CJ, I'm in Cat Yen short, so I'll focus on that pair. Now go back to pound dollar. Let's remove all of this. If you have been following up with our breakdown video throughout the week, then you know that I have a conflict in bias between pound dollar and euro dollar versus Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar. So pound dollar, euro dollar, I'm bearish. Aussie dollar and Kiwi dollar, I'm bullish. So for some of you, Kiwi dollar means New Zealand dollar. So why? It's because pound dollar, we are still rejecting the high. So for me, we talked about this TPF for a long time. As GU still failed below this resistance, I will take this as a short-term bearish signal. Doesn't mean I'm looking to sell, but there is a chance where we might still see weakness on pound dollar. And this week we have tons of news. So Tuesday we have retail sales. Then Wednesday, we got pound CPI. Then we got FOMC. This is the major news. Then we have the pound bank rate or policy summary. And then Friday, we have the BOJ. So tons of news this week. It might be a little bit difficult to trade, but just stick to our plan. So pound dollar for now, I'm still bearish, but I personally won't be looking to sell unless I really see a big shift in structure like this. Unless I see price close below 135.22, then I might consider some mean reversion trade, which means I'm short-term sell. But for the time being, still too bullish. Still too bullish. Euro dollar, same thing as well. Although we are trending upwards on the higher time frame, but in the short term, we have rejected this 117.76. And right now, we're still stuck at this 117.29. So there is always a chance where this thing is still ranging. But if you were to compare euro dollar and pound dollar, I would personally still choose pound dollar because this minor level to me is a lot more neat than this euro dollar. As I can see, price is really trying to print higher low, you see, higher low, higher low, higher low, higher low. So seeing this kind of price action to me is looking quite strong. Seems like we're trying to squeeze higher. Yeah, and euro dollar has been very strong as well. If you look at the price action on the higher time frame, you can definitely see that euro dollar is overall trying to squeeze higher. So if you want to short against euro dollar, just be very careful. Besides that, some of you this week aggressively shorted into dollar yen, and I've made I think two trades review had the same trade, and I've said this as well. Just be more careful next time because you have not seen an actual closure below 146.5 zone. Overall, just try not to get in when you see price form a tight consolidation. This is what I call a tight consolidation. What's a wide range? It will be something like this. This will be a wide range. On dollar yen, this is basically just a tight consolidation. So just try not to participate because no matter what, in the short term, you again, if you try to read the price action on dollar yen, you might feel like it's a mixed. But to me, in the short term, yes, we are bearish as we rejected this 148.97. But at the same time, in the short term, we are holding above 146.5. So that to me will seem more like we are actually trying to defend a higher low in the short term. So I won't be looking to sell on dollar yen. And also one thing, This level of support here, this one at 146.5. What I don't like about this level of support is the fact that we had a lot of spikes here. You see this one and this one. I really don't like when I see price keep spiking back and forth this area. It just shows that this level of support is not that significant. So that's how I read dollar yen. So I won't be touching it for now. I will still be focusing on Aussie dollar, CAD yen, and also let's talk about New Zealand dollar. So this is also another very clean setup. If you have bought, if you have listened to our game plan, I think 2 weeks ago, you probably have made money buying into Kiwi dollar. I think a few of you bought it here on this spike, and that was a good entry. My entry was a little bit lower, although I wasn't focusing on Kiwi dollar, but if I were to buy this, my BNR entry would definitely be at 0.5910. So it wouldn't be here as well. And that was caused by news event. Anyway, if New Zealand dollar come back into 0.5912, I'm still very happy to buy into this because the market structure is so neat. When it was around this area, I still remember I think it was 2 weeks ago, we have already started talking about the buy. When it was at here, I still remember. When Kiwi dollar was at here, we already talked about the possible long scenario. And this was a long-term setup. This kind of setup is the highest quality because you have higher time frame BNR here, 1, 2, 3. Then lower time frame, we are also holding nicely at this area. So when you have high time frame, lower time frame alignment, this is what we call the AA plus setup. So QE dollar right now is still holding strong, and the only entry I can see will be a BNR at 0.5912. Following our entry model, as price has rejected key level, break above this swing high, we will move our entry from here to here. So following our model, if it comes back, we're looking to buy Kiwi dollar into the major resistance at 0.6084. So Kiwi dollar, Aussie dollar, CAD yen, these are three pairs that I focus on this week. Pound Aussie, Euro Aussie, bearish. So Euro Aussie, I can see one possible entry at 176.89, a BNR, or you can call it a minor TPF here. So a left shoulder, a head, and a right shoulder. So a minor BNR, or you can call it a TPF entry at 176.90. Besides that, Pound Aussie, same thing as well, is bearish. But I personally like how clean the SNR zone is, how clean the market structure is on Euro Aussie comparing to Pound Aussie. Because Pound Aussie, the support zone is a little bit wider. And if I were to make a direct comparison, Euro Aussie would just stand out as a high quality setup. And that's pretty much it. For gold, it's strong. There's no entry for now, unless you've been holding it since a lower level. Otherwise, I can't see any entry. So yeah, that's is neat. Any question? Any pair you all would like me to discuss? This week, I think is still our objective is quite clear. What's holding me back is the number of news. The amount of news this week is quite crazy. So even if you were to hold a trade, just be more careful. Yeah, because when news comes, sentiment can shift, just like that. Just have to be careful. I want a short dollar cat. Can you look into it? Let me respond to JX first. So retail sales is not something that we avoid, but it's still great news. It's still great news. Any particular reason you don't trade S&P and NQ or no reason? But if you want me to talk about S&P and NQ, I can do that. I want to short. Oh, every pair, whether if you trade futures, BTC, I mean crypto, or forex, commodity, everything to me, they all work the same. Everything works the same because we trade price pattern, we trade price action. So everything to me works the same. Because some of you say, hey, I don't really trade forex. Can I apply your teaching into futures market, into crypto market? We have a lot of people here trading the crypto as well. Yeah. So You want a short dollar cat? Yeah, possible. Yeah, possible. I can see because dollar cat, go back to our overall analysis. We have one major resistance at 138.88. So as price has faked out this level, you can't really call this a fake out as well because this area of resistance is fairly wide. If I were to draw it properly, it'll be like this. So we can't really call this a fake out. We just call it a rejection. But from a lower time frame, we did formed a TPF here. So let me refine it. So we did form a TPF here, left shoulder hit and a right shoulder. That's why some of them, they showed up based on, again, one major TPF plus another minor TPF. So that's why they showed up. So yeah, BTC short, I agree. Just that in the short term, we again still have a bit of conflict in direction because we're holding above the support 137.55. But at the same time, we're rejecting the resistance. If you want a short dollar CAD, it's still a very high quality, it's still A plus setup because you have higher time frame confirmation, lower time frame confirmation. Just that if you get stopped out, you just have to ask yourself, are you allowed to get back in? You get it, Elias? So yeah, makes sense. Yeah, I responded to that. Nichols is our new trader here. So welcome, Nichols. Jason, what are your thoughts on Kiwi pair on deeper retracement at 0.5890? 0.58. Oh, you mean this one? I wouldn't choose this because again, if you were to choose the level of support, which one is more obvious? I think we talked about this before. When it comes to a BNR zone or when it comes to choosing a SNR level or drawing SNR level, if you can see such a clean SNR zone on the lower time frame, which is more zoomed in, there's no need to zoom out anymore, really. So if you look at this, if this BNR is so clean, why would you want to go out further and you try to draw something like this? Because if you draw something like this, doesn't it looks a lot messier, this one? Let's go to the 4 hour. You see that? The number of times where price peers back and forth, back and forth. But this one, well respected. Break below, rejected, go back above, holding above. You get it, Jason? So yeah. If the minor level, I mean, if the more zoomed in chart is clean, for me, I'll just stick to this SNR zone. And after we finish all of the Q&A and also all of the breakdown, we'll roughly talk about SNR drawing, as one of our trader asked me before the meeting. Nash said, if we see a huge weekly gap, then institutions already decide the direction and outcome of rate cut, so it'll be difficult for entries, correct? Adam say, pound dollar can looking for BNR setup after breaking. Oh, you can. So this is also a question that I've received. So if let's say it breaks above the high, yes, you can. Anyway, goes back to invalidation point. The main reason why we were short-term bearish for the past few weeks, or no, sorry, it's actually the past 2 months, 1.5 to 2 months, is because price formed this very clean TPF here, Adam. So if let's say it starts breaking above, that means the invalidation point of the short trade idea is breached. So you are allowed to look for long. Okay. Can you do analysis about NQ and what's your opinion on correlated pairs? We should avoid them or information, take a position. Let's have a look at NQ. Yep. Wow. Really, when you Nichols, when you see a price action that is just constantly pushing higher, especially on things like NQ, just continue buying. You as a short-term trader, when you see this kind of price action, unless you get in at a decent level of support, Otherwise, I'll suggest you when you see price at an all-time high like this, you just walk away because you probably won't have any entry for many days. Why? Because if you were to buy, where's your target? That's number one thing. Let's put target aside. What pattern would you use to buy into, to chase into this kind of aggressive pro trend? So trade something else. I will suggest you in the short term, you probably won't have any entry. Is either price continue pushing higher and do another BNR for you to get in, or you try to squeeze in a short entry to the downside. But that will be based on a TPF possibly, which is something like this. So if let's say price fake out the high, come back below, there's a chance for you to short into it. Yeah, for now, no. So let's see Ethereum. Boss, could you take a look at Ethereum? I want to short it. For now, I will still suggest you not. It's looking very strong. I wouldn't suggest you to do that. And if you remember our rule on right side of the V concept, how could you short into this? Again, you can do an aggressive TPF entry here, but you just have to be careful. Yeah, because no matter what, it's very strong. But I do understand if you look at this as in I'm very neutral, price form a TPF, I want to short into it, it's fine as well. Because you never know, maybe it gets into a range. You never know. What you can do is you give it an attempt. That's what I would suggest you, Elias. You can only know if it's a good trade or not until you give it one attempt most of the time because you don't know the outcome. If your analysis is I see a clean TPF, let me try it out, then I will say you are still taking calculated risk. You get it? So don't have to be too concerned of the outcome of the trade. So sometimes if you see something, and that's why I always say, if you see a setup that you have strong conviction, you have strong feeling on the trade, just give it an attempt, give it a try. Because if you're always being too conservative, then it's hard for you to make money in the market. You will never know. Give it a try. If it's a loss, you're taking calculated risk. Yeah. Yeah, I know it's bullish, but anyway, if you see it being clean, you can still take it. I'm just giving my general advice, but market is really just based on probability. As long as you have confluences, as long as you are sticking to your pattern, then it's fine. XRP is still looking very strong, especially the way that price has rejected. And I can also see a TPF here. So price form at TPF, fake out of this previous low at 2.8, and it's moving higher. I would say continue buying into the bullish trend. Yeah, because the higher time frame is bullish. Lower time frame is also looking bullish. If you want to buy, there's only one level of support that I can see, which is quite an intermediate level, but there's only one level, which is 3.015. That's the only long entry I will get in. So Nicole's asked, if you could trade only one strategy to grow a small account, which one would you choose and why? Actually, TPF and BNR, they have similar personality. They have similar criteria. So if I were to choose one, it would be TPF, definitely. Yeah, because TPF can pretty much be used in both directions, whether if it's mean reversion, whether if it's a continuation. TPF is a turning point pattern. So BNR is mainly a momentum pattern. Again, both of them are very similar. Just one you wait for fake out, which gives you higher probability of success. After you see price fake out key level, come back for a retest. That's why TPF is a stronger pattern. That's why most of you are trading TPF, right? So it'll be TPF. And I will still advise you the key to grow a small account is not to trade more, is to actually find uh, setups that has an extreme high level of conviction, very high probability, ticks off the high time frame criteria, high time frame, lower time frame alignment. I grew my account from small to big by focusing on the big wins. One win sometime, not to give you a false expectation, but if you at the very beginning, that's when you risk a little bit more. If someone ever tell you, open a $2,000 account, risk 1% per trade, you ask that person to teach you how to grow 2,000 account to 20,000. It might take him a it might take him a whole decade to do so. So at the very beginning of you opening a small account, I consider anything that's below $10,000 as a small account. So anything below five figures, I consider that a small account. If it's a small account, you need to risk a little bit more. If you're not a risk taker, again, risk taker doesn't mean you're being stupid. It simply means you're taking calculated risk. Sorry, if you're not being a risk taker at the very beginning, it's just too difficult for you to grow an account. So at the very beginning, you can risk anything between 3 to 5% a trade. Again, this only applies to small account, especially if your account is below $5,000 or even lower. So you have to risk more once the account goes bigger, especially when it's pushing near 10K or above 10, 20K, you then have to be more conservative. You have to risk lesser and lesser because just just an example here, we have one trader. So he had an account where he grew from 20K to I think 70K, something like that. And then when he grow it from 20 to 70K, he still maintained the same risk appetite. And the account very easily went from 70 back to 30K. So you don't really want that to happen. When you grow accounts from small to big, you need to understand there is some sort of luck element involved. So winning streaks sometimes is also based on a small element of luck. So once you have multiple good wins or multiple lucky wins, then you need to start protecting your profit. And that's also why I have a big rule of every time when I have a very good month. So anything that's above 20% for me is a crazy month. I will always withdraw at least 40 to 50% of the profit nowadays. Last time, obviously, no, but I always pay myself first, then I compound my account. So that's how I protect my profit. You can't forever just put, no, the worst thing you can ever do is you forever put the money, leave it inside your brokerage account because the money is not yours. The broker can shut down. I don't know, you can go crazy, you can lose all of the money. It is until the money reach your bank account, then it's your money. So yeah. I hope it's not out of topic, Nichols. So Nash say, I'm looking at Kiwi. If price ever retraced, don't you think this TPF is strong and lots of liquidity below 0.588 need to be swept to go higher? I don't think so. All of my entries are again, Nash, based on a fixed model. I don't enter trade just because I think price will sweep liquidity, blah blah blah. Because to me, that's too much subjectivity. So if price has rejected the initial level based on my game plan and it has moved higher, I will then stick to the entry model and say I'll start moving my entry level higher. It's always fixed because liquidity sweep, this kind of thing, they are very subjective, right? So Nico asks, thanks Neo, what time frame TFS is it time frame? I was about to say what the fuck should I look to in order to have TPF entry in 15 minute with stop loss hit or recent swing low. I used to trade TPF on the 15 minute or 30 minute. Nowadays I trade on the 1 hour chart. Uh, and so TPF is very simple. So there are times where if let's say again just an example, if the TPF the head is close to the shoulder, you are allowed to put it above. If let's say times where the stop loss is above 60, 70, 80 pips, all you have to do is ensure your stop loss is at least above the left shoulder high. Or if let's say it's on the reverse side, the inverse side, sorry, then you just need to make sure your stop loss is at least below the left shoulder. Then that, for me, you're having a sensible stop loss. Because not every time you can have your stop loss above the head. If let's say today your TPF is like this, how are you supposed to put your stop loss above the head, right? So it has to be based on context, but it's the way you put your stop loss is always fixed. Minimum has to be above the left shoulder or below the left shoulder, based on the direction of the market. Hi Neil, when market is overstretched, I tend not to pull the trigger, but lack of the concept of expensive can remain expensive, cheap can remain cheap. How do you deal with pull the trigger when let's say the trend is already up there? Taking GU as an example. There's no need to confuse yourself, Jason. Stick to your entry model. Like GU, for example, right now is high, right? All you have to do is you look at the chart and say, okay, because no matter what, you have to remember you're a short-term trader. You can't just buy, you know. Yeah, I can't. I can't take a trade that is not on discount. Same thing as well. I have similar trading style. Again, just stick to our entry model. If let's say GU is very overstretched to the upside, all you do is you say, okay, I'm not looking to buy yet. But there are times like this, okay. So let's say you say, I want to see a deeper retracement, but price really did reverse from here, Jason. What can you do? It is, this kind of time, you just have to adapt. Then if let's say you say, okay, I missed out the entry to buy here as price has already reversed from 133.95, all you can do is you set the following entry or you plan out a scenario. If price stays below 0.3586, I will wait. If it breaks above, then I'm forced to chase it. Yeah. If you really don't like it, just don't take it. But it is all based on the fixed rule. So you can basically just say, okay, I won't be buying until I see this. If let's say today pound dollar has really broken above, just imagine, Jason, if GU has already broken above this major level of resistance, now becomes support. If you still have your entry here, does it make sense? It doesn't make sense anymore. You get it, Jason? So you just have to stay relevant. You can only chase it when it fits your scenario. So you don't have to try to figure out how do you describe overbought, how do you describe oversold. It is based on how do you feel, how do you see the market. Even if it's overbought, if price really breaks the level that that's within your game plan and is holding above, you are still forced to buy. You are still forced to buy at a higher price. What can you do? Okay, like let's say, okay, taking BTC as an example. Say let's use BTC as an example. So let's say your initial entry is you wanted to buy at this TPF here at 109.25. So your entry is here. And so unfortunately, it missed out your entry and it starts running higher. When price has already gone from this point A, which is was your initial entry here, to now all the way up to point B, does it still make sense for you to leave your buy limit here and wait for price to come back? You get it, Jason? So in this kind of time, even if you don't like it, you have to accept the fact that your entry minimum will be here. If it goes further, then your entry has to move higher. So as much as I love buying on a discount, but sometimes a different scenario, you are forced to buy higher. You are forced to buy expensive. It's either you stick to your rule or you don't take it. Stick to your rule means you have to adjust your entry. You are forced to adjust your entry. Just keep it very simple. Don't overcomplicate yourself. Uh, your entry, that's why we say entry is always based on a staircase process. One step higher, you move higher. One step higher, then you move higher. Is it valid sell on TPM on NU 0.5961, targeting points 59.25? But that's only like a 36 pips move, Joseph. Let me see. Oh, okay, okay. So I get it. So Joseph is asking, Can he short a TPF here? This one, correct, Joseph? This one? I won't do so. Unless you don't have your game plan on NU has been bearish. Otherwise, I won't. Because we talk about this as well. If my game plan is to buy this, I will stick to the long. For me to short it here and expect price to come back, then we buy back here, go back up. This is against my rule. But if you see this as a clean TPF, you can give it an attempt. Yeah. But for me, I won't do that. If your overall game plan is long, price has rejected and it has been moving higher. You see, we talk about annual long since here, 0.5841. It moved higher, broke above 0.5913. And why should I look to sell? So just a difference in perspective. Okay. Any more question?